So thinking about that, what would you want to do? What do you want to do about some of the injustices that we still continue to face, right? If it wasn't for the Gang of 19 starting this movement, it's very likely that we wouldn't have the ADA today. And let's think about the timeline real quick, right? So the Gang of 19, they started protesting in 1978, okay? The first ADA, the first draft of the ADA was actually introduced to Congress in 1988. So 10 years of protesting, 10 years of organizing, 10 years of knocking doors, 10 years of writing letters and licking envelopes, 10 years of working with, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, right? 10 years of testifying, 10 years of putting yourself on the line so that we could at least have access. It's a lot of work. But that's the only reason that we're able to even be here today. That's what organizing looks like. That's what self-advocacy looks like. That's what building solidarity looks like, right? So, and then not only was it just first introduced, the first draft of the ADA was introduced in 1998, it was signed into law in 1990, the year I was born. Yeah, I know, I'm a baby. The year I was born. And even after that, even after it became law, it still took so much time to hold people accountable, right? To actually implement these things that made the world more accessible. And so I just want to know, and I just want to discuss with you, and I want to brainstorm with you, what are some ideas that you might have to change your world, to make things more accessible, to make things to create more equality and equity in the world? What are some things that you might want to do, especially based on some of the inspiration that you might have gotten from this documentary?
So I've noticed in public places and restaurants, not all of them, have like Braille on the menus.
Braille, yes. So Jared said the same thing, actually. Okay, so we can definitely make Braille more accessible, right? Okay, thank you for that. And I know Jared had mentioned that earlier too. I saw your hand go up, Ben.
Write to people in government about fair pay?
Yeah. So contact government reps, and I'm just going to make an abbreviation here for government reps for equal pay. Yeah?
Yeah, for equal pay.
Jeez. Yep. Absolutely. So contact our government reps for equal pay. Yes. And so in doing that, organizing is definitely key. So you might want to get a really large group of people, but you can start small, don't get me wrong, but try to get a really large group of people to write letters, because the more you bother them, the more likely they are to respond, right? Yeah. What else you got, Jared?
Teach people about disability rights.
Teach people about disability rights. Yes, education is key. How would you like to see that implemented? Where would you like to see that? Like in elementary school, middle school, high school? Would you like to, is that somewhere that you think might, are those some places that you think it might be good to have some classes on teaching people about disability rights? Or, yeah, is that one spot? Okay, so we can do it in school. Is there anywhere else that we can find ways to educate people? How about you guys teaching people what you know? And it doesn't even have to be, you don't even have to have like a really deep understanding about the history of it. I don't know everything about my history, but I know about my story, right? I can tell my story at the very least, and that can help educate people. What do you guys think about that? So maybe telling our stories a bit more? Finding ways to share our stories? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So sharing our stories? What did you have, Riley?
Speak up.
Mm-hmm.
And then do another capital crawl, and then do Ray.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put speak up right next to sharing our stories. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So speak up, because that's extremely important for yourself and for each other. And then you said finding another way to do the capital crawl. Is that what you said?
Yeah, do another capital crawl.
Yeah, okay.
And do Ray.
So another capital crawl.
but in a different way.
Okay, in a different way. Do you have any ideas of how you might want to do it differently? Or not yet?
Not quite yet.
Okay.
But now,
Understandable.
I have my ideas. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sounds good, sounds good. What you got, man?
Don't be afraid to share your thoughts and ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna come over here. Don't be afraid.
Yeah. Does graduation want to go up there? Do you want graduation up there?
Yes. I was waiting.
Oh,
So don't be afraid to share your thoughts and ideas. So speaking out in a way, yeah, absolutely. And so did you want to go ahead and put graduation up there, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, so working on graduation for everybody?
Yeah, graduation for everybody, right?
Yeah. So
You're welcome, yeah.
or
Yeah.
CUCCS to have an inclusive graduation?
Yeah.
Now thinking about that, thinking about decision makers, right? Do you feel like there should be more people that are in some of these spaces, whether they're in government, whether they're in the transportation system, whether they're in schools, that are decision makers that have your best interests at heart? Or even maybe they have a disability themselves so they can speak from their own perspective? Do you think that that representation matters? Yeah? So what do you think about trying to get more people with lived experiences, with disabilities, in spaces where they can make decisions? Is that something we can do? Maybe we can vote more, we can elect more people like that. We can try to make sure that, when people are applying for jobs, that maybe they're looking at that, they're looking through a lens of equity, and they're actually, they're hiring people. Yeah, they're hiring more people that might also live with disabilities or are marginalized in other ways. Yeah? Okay, I'm gonna write that down too. What you got?
Teach other universities what office and inclusive services are like for students with disabilities.
Okay, all right, so,
All colleges have it.
okay.
So telling them that it's okay if you have a disability, you can go to college.
Yeah, absolutely. So teach more colleges about this particular program and how they can replicate a program like this.
I got mine.
What you got?
Letting the university know in need of automatic doors.
Okay, yeah. So making sure we have more automatic doors. I'm gonna come over here. 10. And so this is at universities, restaurants, public, absolutely. More automatic doors at public places. And so I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Christy was saying about you speaking yesterday, Ashley. A lot of times what we forget, right, is when we walk into some of these spaces, whether we are speaking in front of a school board, whether we are speaking to an elected representative on the local level, the state level, whatever that looks like, when you walk into those rooms, when you write those letters, when you make those phone calls, you recognize that you're the boss, right?
Yeah.
You recognize that who said yes? You said yes? Good. Because a lot of people don't recognize that power, right? They're responsible, and they are supposed to be held accountable to you, right? You make the decisions that they're supposed to carry out. So when you walk into those spaces, you don't walk in with fear or feeling intimidated. Listen, I'm the boss, right? You're supposed to do exactly what it is that I ask you to do. And if you don't agree with it, we could talk it out and see how we can work together, right? But ultimately, I still have the final say. And one of the biggest and the most powerful things about that, especially if they're elected, is that if they're not doing their job, you can just vote them out. Did y'all know that? You could just vote them out. That's how you fire them, okay? So you're the boss every time you walk into these spaces. You're the boss as soon as you go ahead and start writing those letters, when you start making those phone calls. That's the position of power that you speak from, right? And it doesn't mean that we have to dehumanize them, okay? We don't want to become what we hate, right? But we want to make sure that they understand, listen, you're here to serve me. You're here to represent me. You're here to represent us collectively. And this is what the collective voice is saying, okay? How do you guys feel about this list?
Awesome.
Yeah?
Not too bad.
Some stuff we can get done, right? There's a lot of beautiful things we can accomplish together, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I have to bounce, and I hate it, and I'm sorry. But I'm gonna catch you on the way out, Brianna. I just wanted to let you guys know, if you can, anything that's up here that you really feel like you have some passion about, write it down and put this on one of your to-do lists. Like, these are some things that we can actually accomplish together. And you know that Christy is here, you know that I'm here, you know that there are so many people in the room that are here to support you. Ashley, John, forgive me because I don't remember everybody else's name. I'm sorry, I really am. But we are here to help you and support you in any way that we possibly can, especially if we're gonna be getting some stuff done that will help us create a more accessible and more equitable world, because that's what we deserve. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. I gotta bounce. I love y'all. I'll see you next Friday. All right? Yes, thank you.